In 1962, George Maharis was at the peak of his fame. Route 66 made him a household name and teen heartthrob. His producer treated him like family. Then, the producer discovered something about Maharis that shattered their relationship forever. What he learned wasn't illegal, but in 1960s Hollywood, it was career suicide. The producer's reaction was swift and brutal. He launched a campaign to destroy Maharis completely. The fallout ended one of television's biggest hits and ruined a friendship that could never be repaired. George Maharis was born on September 1st, 1928 in Etoria, Queens. He was the third of 6 children born to Greek immigrants Vasitos who later went by William and Demetra Maharis. His father had started with nothing and built a restaurant business that kept the family steady during the Depression. Later, they moved to Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan, a neighborhood famous for its crime and poverty. Yet even there, the restaurant's success gave them a security most immigrant families didn't have. They held on to their Greek traditions while chasing the American dream through food. George grew up in this world, watching his father serve everyone from dock workers to men you might not want to meet in a dark alley. Gave him an early education in human nature and street life. Years later, that same understanding would shape his ability to play working-class streetwise characters. His parents' journey from nothing to running a small restaurant empire became the model of hard work and persistence that stayed with him for life. From an early age, George dreamed of singing. At Flushing High School, his classmates admired his voice. In his 20s, he threw himself into musicals outside New York City, taking odd jobs to pay the bills. But too much performing combined with bad vocal training destroyed his voice. The damage was permanent. His singing dream ended before it had truly begun. It was a crushing blow. The irony is that years later, when he was famous for acting, he recorded 6 albums with Epic Records. One of his songs, Teach Me Tonight, climbed to number 25 on the Billboard Hot 100. The voice injury that closed one door pushed him through another, leading him to discover acting, which would become his true path. Before any of that, he left high school early and joined the United States Marine Corps. He served for exactly 18 months. Military life hardened him and gave him discipline, something that would serve him long after. When his service ended, he went back to finish high school. He worked in construction, restaurants, and other blue-collar jobs while chasing his singing dream. Those years gave him first-hand experience with the kind of people he would later portray so convincingly on screen. In the 1950s, he trained at the neighborhood playhouse with Sanford Meisner and at the Actors Studio with Lee Strasberg. These were the best acting schools in America. Meisner taught him how to live truthfully in each moment on stage, while Strasberg drilled the emotional memory work that defined method acting. Maharis absorbed it all during the height of the method movement, when Brando, Dean, and Cliff were changing the way America acted. That training gave him a deep, brooding style that set him apart from most TV actors of his time. He began making a name for himself off Broadway. In the late 1950s, his role in John Janna's Death Watch put him in the spotlight with a dark, dangerous character. Then came The Zoo Story by Edward Albee, where he played a killer. These performances were raw and risky, and they caught the attention of Otto Preminger, who cast him in his film Exodus in 1960. It was a major leap, working alongside Paul Newman and with a screenplay by Dalton Trumbo. The film made over $8.7 million in the US and $20 million worldwide, and it helped break Hollywood's blacklist against suspected communists. His television break had come earlier in 1955 on Mr. Peepers. He played a parody of Marlon Brando so sharp and funny that it became legendary, despite the fact he had only seen Brando act once before. Ironically, Maharis would later be compared to Brando for his own serious roles. In 1959, he appeared in an episode of Naked City called Four Sweet Corners where he played a young veteran returning from Japan. The episode's theme of restless wandering inspired the creation of Route 66. The producers had already decided Maharis would be one of the leads. Route 66 paired him with Martin Milner and their chemistry was unforgettable. Maharis was the street tough rebel, Milner the clean-cut searcher. They were so different in real life that it made the acting effortless. When Glenn Corbett replaced Maharis later, the balance was gone and audiences felt it immediately. The show itself broke ground by filming entirely on location. Over 4 seasons they shot in 25 states and even Toronto, writing scripts for each location after scouting. They filmed on oil rigs in logging camps, at raceways, even at Glen Canyon Dam while it was still being built. The name Route 66 was almost misleading. The actual highway was barely featured, but the series captured America as it was then, with its different accents, jobs, and local cultures. George Maharis arrived the weight of the working class struggle in his voice and in his walk. Every glance, every pause came from the method acting lessons he soaked up at the Actors Studio with Lee Strasberg. It made him real. It made him dangerous. And in 1962 it made him an Emmy nominee for Outstanding Lead Actor. He had the look, he had the grit, and he had a Corvette. That car wasn't just a car. On Route 66 it became America's dream machine. Chevrolet made sure of it, handing the show a new Corvette every year. The first was a 1960 model in the pilot shot in February 1960. Then came the 1961 and 1962 models until the third season unveiled the brand new 1963 Stingray convertible in fawn beige. America saw it on TV every week and wanted one in their driveway. Maharis even tricked Chevrolet into giving him his own Corvette by claiming he had a Ford Thunderbird that would show up on screen. Fame brought other doors. Between 1962 and 1966, Maharis recorded dozens of singles with Epic Records. His first album, George Maharis